So today we're here, Dill Pickle. We're here with Diane, the owner and purveyor of Sheekar Delights. If you don't know, Sheekar Delights is locally made baklava, and we carry them in our prepared food section. And today we're here to learn a little bit more about the force behind Sheekar Delights. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Excited. I'm excited to also be at Dill Pickle.
Yes. So my first question is, how did your journey with Sheekar Delights begin?
So I left corporate world after being in there for a while and decided, after growing up with my mom and making baklava, working in her kitchen, I always loved making stuff and being in the kitchen with my mom. And she was always known to make like great sweets and just being a good cook. And so I grew up with that homemade food and sweets and just during the holiday time and stuff like that. So when I left corporate world, I decided, okay, what could I do for myself? And so I thought about starting a baklava business. And I, of course, look up to my parents and wanted kind of their blessing and to run it by them since it was something I learned from my mom. And I told them about it and they said, you know what, that's fine. No problem. We want you to do it. And my dad took me upstairs to his room, pulled out a yellow envelope and said to me, I don't know what this can do for you, but whatever it is, follow your dreams and do whatever you want to do. So I opened it up and it had creative and marketing pieces of like Marge's baklava. It was a dream that my parents had kind of dreamed up together. They were going to do a mail order baklava business together and call it Marge's baklava. And they had pictures of her original stuff and everything. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, I think this is probably like a calling for me to do this. And so that really kind of gave me the push that I needed because you get nervous about things. And it was like that kind of gave me, it affirmed it to me that I think this is what I need to do.
Wow. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah, thank you. So it was really nice. I mean, and then when I started doing it, maybe soon after that, I thought about doing seasonal taste baklava. And that's kind of like where the light bulb really went off when I told my dad about that idea. He's like, that's a great idea. So I was like, okay, this is great.
It's like full circle.
Yes.
It's your destiny and your calling.
Yes, exactly.
So you would say your parents are some of your biggest influences, correct?
Yes. My parents definitely have kind of encouraged me to go after whatever I want to do, whatever makes me happy. There was never any, like, you have to do this or you have to do that. So they also came here as immigrants to this country. And so I'm first generation of like Assyrian here. And that is very like big for me. And so it's different. There's a lot of cultural things that my parents instilled in us that are important to me as I get older and try to teach my own children.
It's very important to preserve our culture and where we come from.
Right.
So we know where we're going forward.
Exactly. And when with us, like Assyrian people, we don't have our own country to, to hold on to. So it's like we've been kind of dispersed all around the Middle East. And so we get mixed up with a lot of different cultures. So it's kind of even more important for us to kind of stand on our own as like the indigenous people in the Middle East, who have a culture like we just celebrated over 7,000 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So I'm proud of that.
So I'm curious about the name of Sheekar Delights. Does that have a cultural connection?
Right. So Sheekar actually means sugar in Assyrian. And so it was important to me since baklava is such a worldwide ethnic dessert. A lot of people ask me, where does it come from? Or is it Greek? Or they'll assume that it's, a certain culture or certain region. And so I'm like, no, actually, mine is more similar to Middle Eastern baklava. My mother's from Lebanon. My dad's from Syria. So very like baklava rich countries that embrace lots of different flavors. And I love the Middle Eastern flavors as well. So Sheekar means sugar. So I thought it was important to tie in my product with more of a cultural name to it.
I think you did well.
So thank you. Thank you.
My next question is, as a female entrepreneur, what is your mantra?
So my mantra is to not give up. So a lot of people around you will be like, oh, especially me, I just make baklava. So it's like, oh, you just make baklava. And it's like, yes, I do. But you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it well. And don't let anything get you down. So the harder you push me and tell me I can't, the more I can. And so for me, it's even more important for me as an entrepreneur, and also with what I sell. It's a very ethnic worldwide dessert, but it's not something that a lot of the people in the US definitely are familiar with baklava, but my goal is to kind of make it more of like a common dessert that could be on your table. It doesn't have to be because you're having Greek food or Middle Eastern food. It's just, I want it to be that chocolate chip cookie on your table. So my mantra is just don't give up, just keep going and educate people. To me, it's also about educating people. So some people know about, when I tell them, oh, I'm Assyrian and whatever, I get so humbled when they know who Assyrian people are and where we come from and, what our history is. And so for me, it's also very important to educate. And so not everybody knows who Assyrians are, but we need to educate them. And I have childhood friends who are not Assyrian from very many different cultures and can speak Assyrian or know about our foods and are interested. And it's because I've taught them all these years because they've shown interest in it, where they can walk the streets and hear, Assyrian words and say, oh, wow, you're Assyrian. So is my good friend. So kind of creating conversation.
Which is exactly what we're doing.
Exactly. And about educating people of people's backgrounds rather than being ignorant, because there's a lot of ignorance out there as well.
Yes. And I'll be honest, I didn't know much about the Assyrian culture until now, doing research on Sheekar Delights. So I think you're living up to your mantra.
Yeah, that's like very important to me. It's just kind of educating people about stuff. Not everybody's going to know what baklava is, let alone Assyrian people.
So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And then my last question, it's a little bit of a fun one. If you were a metropolitan city, domestic or international, which one would you be and why?
I know this sounds so cliche, but I feel like I'm in the city, suburbs, Chicagoland area of where I should be. Mm-hmm. I'm born and bred in Chicago.
Okay.
Born around the Chicagoland area, grew up in Chicago in the beginning, kind of like where little India is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Devon and Oakley area, then moved over to the suburbs, and then that have become suddenly with many more Assyrian people. So I feel like there's the Chicagoland area has become more of where my people are. And I just love our city. I love our food scene in the city. I think that we have a lot of different pockets in the city that we can go and grab delicious food and music and just the people. And, I don't know, I'm biased. Some people may think, you're from Chicago, they were pretty blunt or whatever, but you know what? I really love that about us. And I love that about our city. And I feel like I am kind of where I need to be. I don't see myself. I mean, I've been to other cities, to other countries, but I really feel like my heart is always here. And I think a lot of that has to do with also family. I have all my family around here. So, and that's kind of what keeps me here as well and more grounded. I'm somebody who needs my family, who needs my friends, which makes these times hard sometimes because I can't see my friends and go out for a drink the way we like yet. But, it's all important to me. So I feel like I'm at the perfect city that where even with our people, we're represented here, which is important to me as well. Through our churches, whether it's through our churches, through our parades, through just events that go on, we have a pretty good population of Assyrian people around the Chicago and Chicagoland area. And that also, there's something to be said about community.
Yes, and putting down roots.
Right. So to me, this is kind of where my roots are. I know that's a very boring answer, but that's who I am.
It's your truth.
It's my truth. It's my truth. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much. I hope that you have enjoyed my baklava. Really excited about being at Dill Pickle. It's a great community, local grocery store, and has great people working for you, at the store. And congratulations on being getting the
best local
Chicago Reader Best Local Grocer. I was like, yes, I'm there. So,
and you're a part of that. You're a part of the community.
Thank you. And I look forward to kind of getting the baklava more, awareness and more people going to the store. We're at the local farmers market in Logan Square as well. This year we're going to be at Andersonville, which I'm excited about. And we're also at the Evanston Farmers Market. So it's just trying to get everywhere.
Yes, there will be a lot more opportunities to get involved. We're going to be planning and putting together a block party.
Oh, awesome.
Hopefully in August.
That's exciting.
So we'll create a space for vendors to come out and talk about their products.
Oh, that would be great. I think there's something to be said also with like the customers meeting the vendor, hearing their story, and that also helps with, people buying your product. And so when I started at Dill Pickle, it was literally right in the middle of the pandemic. So I couldn't do the normal thing that I do, is going and demoing and giving people samples and stuff. So, but Dill Pickle's been great with, providing, me providing prepackaged samples that could be just tucked away into people's bags, being part of, being a sponsor with some of your events has been great too. Just having the people at Dill Pickle also taste your product and kind of know what you have to.
And it speaks back to the education point.
Right.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly. So I think the more we educate and the more we kind of open up our minds on different foods and just different ways of doing things, I think that we can do so much more. And, unfortunately, I think people are valuing local more now than I've seen in the past 10 years I've been doing this. So, which is nice. I've seen them wanting to come up and support me because you're small and you do great stuff. And, that's been very humbling as well during these turbulent times.
Right. And I think people want to build community.
They do.
That's how you make a human connection, and that creates the space for healing and moving forward.
Exactly. And going into, being a local grocer creates that. And then working at farmer markets creates that. And it's something that when you go to other grocery stores, you don't really expect to know every person that works there. But I'm sure you guys have people that come here and speak to you guys by your first names and how you doing, and that kind of a relationship. And to me, people are like, aren't you tired of the farmers markets? I'm like, no, I love my people. I love my customers, and they come from all walks of earth. And, everybody, we all get along, around our tent, talking
around good, great, sweet food.
around food about, I grew up my mom making homemade foods, and I do that. It's so important to me to do with my children as well. My life is crazy. I have 3 kids that range from 21 to 13 to 5. So it's, it's a crazy balance between work and home, but I'm always wanting to cook for my kids. It's comforting. I know they like it, and I love it because I know how I felt. And, my friends used to come over and they used to have stuffed grape leaves of my mom's and little kibbeh, like little, just like little Middle Eastern food that, my friends have never eaten before. And now they can sit in a cabbie with somebody who's from Iraq and speak about our foods, or get stuffed grape leaves from somewhere and not be up to par to what they used to have at my house. So those are all like really lovely memories that I want my kids to always have too.
Well, then one follow-up question. Do you plan to include any more items to Sheekar Delights, such as
I might. I've been testing out some things. This is our slower time now. And so as I am a little slower, but right before I start gearing up for farmer market, I've been testing some, a cookie idea that's more of a Middle Eastern cookie that my mom makes just delicious. It's called matmoul. And so I'm thinking about how I can incorporate a delicate cookie like that and kind of make it more seasonal and bring in some more seasonal flavors, just like I do with my baklava. So I have been thinking about that, definitely testing things out, doing things more. It's great to have foundation recipes, but like even with my mom's recipe, I tweaked it a little bit. And she's like, wait, what did you do to it? I said, don't worry. I tweaked it a little bit. And it's
but she knows.
But she knows. She knows. So it's, the same thing. It's like I can never always make it like mom, right? But we can learn and still do it well. So I feel so blessed to have her as like the teacher to teach me, and then my ideas start coming through. So it's nice. Nice to kind of see it all work. So stay tuned. Yes. Stay tuned on that.
I can't wait.
You guys will be my taste testers. If I do something like that, I'll definitely do taste testers and bring up like, what do you think about this?
Okay. You can sign me up. Number 1. I'm in line.
No problem.
Well, thank you, Diane. Thank you
so
for
much.
your patience.
No problem.
Navigated technical issues. Thank you for your energy and your time today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I appreciate your time and your patience with me as well. And so I great to meet you, Jessica.
Likewise.
And we'll stay in touch.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.